Hello folks, Alex here. This is Alex Unabridged, and today it's time to go through my trash pile of possibilities for GarbAugust. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, it's time to go through this trash pile of possibilities that I have for GarbAugust. It's quite a list, so grab yourself a brew or a wine or whatever your poison and settle down for quite a long list of things. I can't make decisions on what I want to read. I'm a mood reader, so I've got a big pile of possibilities, so I can just dip into things, depending on what I fancy for that particular week's theme. This should hopefully provide you with some ideas for things to read if you're still struggling to find stuff for particular themes for GarbAugust. And I will let you know if it's something is a Kindle Unlimited pick or an Audible Plus catalogue pick, in case you have one of those subscriptions and you want to go off and read or listen to that thing in particular. So let's start off with category romance for week one. I've got stuff basically for pretty much every theme. I'm not doing an either or. I'm doing a both. I will read something from every theme, just because, again, I can't pick and I want to try bits of everything. So yes, category romance to start with then. So first up then, we've got Trashy Foreplay. How could I not put this on the list with a name like that? It is a steamy forbidden romance novel, suitable for mature audiences only. This is an ebook that was, it's not Kindle Unlimited, but I think at the moment it is still free. So if you fancy it, hop on to Amazon, and I think it's, at the moment, as I record this video, it is still free. Then we've got Dark Fairy Tales, another freebie on Amazon. This is an anthology of stories, all kind of riffs on fairy tales, dark fairy tales, with a steamy romance element to it. That had some, good reviews saying that it was, rather spicy, and kind of good dark tellings of some fairy tales. So again, give that one a go. I might not get through all of that, but it's one where I can dip into particular stories. Next up, we've got Omega's Fate, Mated to the Alpha #1, it's called, and this is a shifter romance, a male-male shifter romance with male pregnancy. Quite a specific subgenre there. Not sure what I'll make of that. It's very short though. I think it's only about 79 pages. It is by Rosa Swan and Wolf Spectre. Wolf Spectre, that's got to be a pseudonym, hasn't it? That sounds like peak trash to me, and it also fits into the shifter romance and the weirdly specific genre squares on the Garb bingo board. Next up, I've got The Reek by Lily Mayne, which is the third book in the Monstrous series. The first two of which I have already read. I read the first one for GarbAugust 1.5 and was actually really impressed with it. These follow on and continue on looking at different characters within the same world, and it is a post-apocalyptic male monster romance series, and the previous two were quite spicy. So I'm expecting the next one to be similarly so. We've also got the fourth one in that series on the list, which is called Gloam. That again, Lily Mayne, that's the fourth in the Monstrous series. I put both of those on mainly because I know how quick they are to read. I can rip through one of those in a night. So yes, I've got a couple of those on there because I do, as I say, the first two I had really good fun with. Next up, we've got The Minotaur's Mate, a gay monster romance with Bull. This is by Delaney Rain, and I'd seen some of Delaney Rain's stuff on Kindle Unlimited. Oh, by the way, yes, The Reek and Gloam are both Kindle Unlimited, as is this. And yeah, Delaney Rain's stuff, I'd seen some stuff on Kindle Unlimited a while ago, and the things I'd had on the list previously have gone off Kindle Unlimited for now. But this one popped up instead, and I do like a Minotaur retelling. And the description of this says, this novella has an enemies to lovers, virgin hero, size different story with sci-fi elements. A bull-headed human and a marshmallow-hearted bull, spying on your neighbours, shopping for sex toys, one heck of a history lesson, monster-sized anatomy, megalomaniacs fighting to stay in control, and a little stabbing, but there's a wedding and a happy ever after ending. And I thought, it's got to go on the list, doesn't it? It's got to go on the list. That's really specific in its description. It sounds peak trash. And I'm intrigued. I'll admit I am intrigued, and it's short, so that one is on the list. As I say, that one is Kindle Unlimited, in case you know that's piqued your interest. Next up, I've got something a little more down to earth, shall we say, and that is Starting from Scratch, which is by Jane Northcote. It's book 5 in a series called Housemates, which is gay romance. And I say this is book 5, but by all accounts you don't need to have read the first 4. And this one features a romance between a queer trans guy and a queer cis guy. And that is the reason why I want to read this one. This will be the first time that I read something that has a trans guy as part of the relationship storyline in a romance, and I'm very interested to see how it's tackled. So yeah, I definitely will get to that one. That one definitely interests me. Then I've got a couple of Audible Plus catalogue picks, so audiobooks. The first one is the Nothing Special series. And the Audible Plus catalogue has books 1 to 5 as a collection. So, I mean, the total collection is 52 hours. I'm not going to be reading them all, but, you know, the first one potentially. And these are gay romances set in the Atlanta Police Department, a narcotics task force. One of the reviews said, hours of pure alpha male hotness with dynamic action, sweet and emotional relationships. And so I thought, okay, so bit sweet, bit of spice, give that a go. Bit more real world, and it's an audiobook, and I'm kind of intrigued to listen to something that's potentially spicy romance. It could be really cringe, it could be really hot. Who knows? We'll find out. And finally, another Audible Plus catalogue pick is Let Me Show You by Becca Seymour, which is the first book in a series called True Blue. This is also gay romance, and the blurb says, when a veterinarian and a construction worker connect, it takes mishaps, mistakes, and a Rhodesian Ridgeback named Rex to show them that they're made for one another. This could be much sweeter, this one, I think. Whether it's too sweet for me or not, I don't know. Whether it's a bit saccharine, I don't know. Well, again, we'll find out. But yes, those are my picks for the category romance. Okay, men's adventure then. This is a category that is pretty much new to me entirely. So starting off, I've got my first paperback, and that is The Executioner, Don Pendleton, and this one is Assault on Soho. Which is, I think, quite early on in the series. I think it's probably within the first 10, might be like book 7 or 8 or something like that. Because this one is a London setting, so I thought I'd grab this one because at least it's, you know, in a city that I know a little bit about. It's, you know, it looks like peak trash to me. You know, you've got man with gun in action position, naked lady, one-man army, you know, war on the mafia. yeah, that's all of those things are indicative of some good old school men's adventure trash. Ollie says that this one has some great Austin Powers-esque moments in it, apparently. So yes, I shall look forward to that. This one will probably also fill the vigilante book square on the GarbAugust board, and also potentially book with nudity on the cover. There's some definite nudity on the cover there. So then I've got a Kindle Unlimited pick, which is Doomsday Warrior #1 by Ryder Stacy, and this is a series of science fiction novels set in 2089 and later, that depicts the struggle to reclaim America from the USSR after a nuclear strike and invasion in 1989. The book was first written in 1984. So this is kind of post-apocalyptic, I guess, post-nuclear apocalypse type stuff. I guess this could potentially fill the square on the GarbAugust board for something about moral panic, or it's being, I guess, the Cold War. So yeah, I like the sound of this. I like post-apocalyptic stuff, nuclear stuff, things like that. So could be quite good fun. That. Next up, I have got Warbots by G. Harry Stynes. This is also a Kindle Unlimited pick. The blurb for this says, in the high-tech laboratories of tomorrow, a new breed of super soldier is born. The brutal face of warfare has been dramatically altered. Armoured giants now roam the explosive fields of battle. Massive instruments of devastation with computer minds inseparably linked with the brain waves of their human masters. They are warbots. Men and machines combined to create the most lethal warriors in the history of armed conflict. So yes, this one is, I think this was out of print for a while and has come back in again. I'm not sure when this was, maybe 70s, 80s. So yes, that is a Kindle Unlimited pick as well. Next up, we've got one that I think quite a few of us potentially will be reading. I've seen it pop up on some other people's lists, and that is The Satan Sleuth, Book 1, which is Fallen Angel, by Michael Avallone. This might fit the GarbAugust board slot for a book with Satanists. I'm not sure. I'll have to read it to find out. And the little bit of blurb for this is, fighting for reason and right against the devil and his disciples, Satan's Sleuth is an occult adventure series about Philip St. George, a masked avenger fighting the forces of darkness in the 1970s. So yes, I think this one could be really good fun. I do like some satanic stuff in my stories, that is. So yeah, as I say, I think there might be a few of us reading some of the Satan Sleuth series. So yes, that is a Kindle Unlimited if you're interested. And then finally on the men's adventure, and I think this probably fits in the men's adventure, certainly adventure, and that is Surviving the Evacuation, Book 1, London. This is not a Kindle Unlimited pick, but this and the next two books in the series, and I think there are 20 something in the series. The first three are at the moment free on Kindle to own. So if you like the sound of this, they're easy to get your hands on. And the blurb for this reads as follows. The outbreak began in New York. Soon it had spread to the rest of the world. People were attacked, infected, and they died. Then they came back. Nowhere is safe from the undead. As anarchy and civil war took grip across the globe, Britain was quarantined. The press was nationalised. Martial law, curfews and rationing were implemented. It wasn't enough. An evacuation was planned. The inland towns and cities of the UK would be evacuated to defensive enclaves being built around the coast in the Scottish Highlands and the Irish Republic. Bill Wright broke his leg on the day of the outbreak. He is trapped, he is alone, he is running out of food and water. He knows that to reach safety he will have to venture out into the wasteland that was once England. On that journey he will ultimately discover the horrific truth about the outbreak, a decades-old conspiracy and his unwitting part in it. So yeah, this just popped up in kind of an email and a list of kind of freebie stuff. and I thought, oh yes, zombie apocalypse, all right then. So yes, so as I say, that is free. As I record this, that is still free on Kindle if you like the sound. So next up, onto the bulk of my list, because this is where I get a little bit overexcited, and that is for the Paperbacks from Hell theme. So I have quite a few of these, and there's no way I'm getting through all of these, but I will dip in to whatever I fancy. So first of all, in my physical books, I've got, first up, The Swarm. This is Killer Bees by Arthur Herzog. So yes, killer bees spreading across America. Perfect paperback from hell in terms of killer animals. Most of my paperbacks from hell are killer animals, to be fair. I do love a killer animal. Killer bugs. Do you like killer bugs? So yes, Killer Bees for the first one. Then I've got another Herzog, which is Orca. So killer whale, killer whale. Yes, I was potentially going to get Killer by Peter Tonkin, which is another book about a killer whale. But I found this in a used bookstore, and I thought, no, I've got this one. Read this one first. I was going to try and do a comparison, but I thought, no, don't overdo it on the killer whale stuff. Read this one first, and then I can come back to the killer whale. I can come back to Killer at a later stage. So yes, Orca. Next one. Then I've got Bugs, which is not bugs as in insects, but bugs as in computer bugs that turn into some sort of killer bugs. Trash. This is peak trash. This looks like peak trash to me. The font on the cover, the use of the word mega shock. Mega shock novel of flesh-rending microchip horror. The constant use of the title on the back there. Yeah, I think this one could be hilarious because technology's moved on quite a bit since this was written. So yes, I'm looking for this one. I do really want to read this one. I think this one's probably almost a TBR as opposed to a pile of possibilities. But yes, Bugs. Next up, I've got Sea Trial by Frank de Felitta. And this looks a bit more like a kind of serial killery, possibly, sort of maybe a bit supernaturally. I'm not entirely sure. It says a novel in which evil is something you can see and touch and smell and never escape. It's about a couple who go on a romantic cruise. As the end, a perfect ending to a perfect affair. It says, but the couple that the couple that they're on the boat with aren't the nice middle-aged couple that they may seem, and then accidents begin to happen and chaos ensues by the sounds of it. So yes, I know nothing about this one at all, so this one will be completely a complete blind read to me. Next up, back to the bugs. Back to the killer bugs, and we've got Locusts, which will be my first Guyan Smith, a well-known author of the Paperbacks from Hell type of book. And yeah, Locusts, so killer locusts. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, that one. Don't need to say much more about that. Then I've got Pestilence by Edward Jarvis. Don't go near the water. I love the cover of this, even though it scares me a little bit. This is Killer Lampreys. Lampreys are horrible as it is, but like killer ones, ugh. So yes, more killer animal stuff. I've got plenty of stuff to fill the killer animal square on the GarbAugust board. Another Edward Jarvis next, and that's Maggots. Again, another cover that I think is great, but I don't like it. The Squirming Menace, Maggots. So yes, all starts with the discovery of a dead hedgehog in a boiler shed. Meanwhile, not many miles away, a man watches in disbelieving horror as his own body is eaten alive. Yes, it sounds fabulous. Next up, sticking with the killer animals / bugs, insects, things, got Worm by Simon Ian Childer. Something horrible is crawling out of your worst nightmares. I love the cover of this. I think this is one of my favourite covers, I think. So yes, worms, parasitic worms, blah. I think, yeah, this one could be a bit like ick factor, definitely. So yes, more killer bugs. I think that's possibly all of my killer... No, not quite all my killer bugs. There's more coming later. Next up, I've got an author who's a classic one of the Paperbacks from Hell, and that's Ramsey Campbell and The Doll Who Ate His Mother. I saw this, I saw Ollie do a review of this a while back, and really liked the sound of it. So managed to get my hands on a copy of it a while ago. So again, this is one of the ones that is kind of a bit more... It's a bit further up on the kind of... on the list of potentials. I would really like to get through this one during GarbAugust. What next? Oh yes, another author, sort of very well known as a trashy author, and that is Richard Lehman. This will be my first Richard Lehman if I get to this, and that is Funland, and would fill, of course, the Richard Lehman book square on the GarbBingo board. This one is Funland, and I do like things, you know, kind of set around amusement parks, things like that. I think they inherently can be quite creepy, especially sort of at night, things like that. So yes, I'm interested to read some Richard Lehman and see whether all the things that everybody says about him are true. I'm sure they are. It's just whether I can appreciate them for the ridiculousness, or whether they'll just get on my nerves. I don't know, but we'll find out. Next up, I have got one which I think is trash, but I'm not entirely sure, and that is Headhunter by Michael Slade. I saw this one in a used bookshop. It looks like, you know, cover-wise, it looks potentially trashy. It has a quote on the front, a real chiller, the most gruesome I have ever read, and that's from Robert Bloch, the author of Psycho. So potentially gratuitous violence. The blurb on the back references a killer who inhabits a bizarre world of cannibalism, torture, and sexual perversion. So again, that sounds like, you know, pretty violent stuff. It also has a quote on the back from the Vancouver Sun, which calls it a thinking man's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I don't know why, but that makes it, that to me suggests trashiness. So yes, we'll give this one a go. This one, incidentally, is one that I think should be a step back cover. So a step back cover being one where there's a cutout, so when you open it, there's another image underneath. And I think that would make a perfect cutout, this bit here. So when you opened it, there was a scary image underneath. But yes, they missed a trick on that, I think. Then I have got a Kindle book, which is Slugs by Sean Hudson. Again, a classic paperback from hell, which I've wanted to read again since I saw it, I think, on Ollie's channel ages ago. And so that one I got as an ebook because I already had the second in I think it's a trilogy, which is Breeding Grounds. So it's Killer Slugs, and yeah, I just think these sound absolutely fantastic. So yes, so I've got Slugs as an ebook, and then I've got the paperback of the second one. So those are all the paperbacks I've got. I've got plenty of killer animal ones there. Could certainly do that GarbBingo square many times over. What else have I got in the paperbacks from hell then? But yes, there are more. Kindle Unlimited picks. Flowers in the Attic is the first one, by VC Andrews. So the blurb for this, in case anybody who doesn't know this one's quite a well-known one, I think. It says, at the top of the stairs there are 4 secrets hidden, blonde, innocent, and fighting for their lives. A suspenseful and thrilling tale of family, greed, murder, and forbidden love. Flowers in the Attic is the unputdownable first novel of the epic Dollanganger family saga. This, by all accounts, is absolute primo trash. And there is a VC Andrews book square on the GarbBingo board, so that one would fill that one nicely. Okay, next up in the Kindle Unlimited pick is Pistols. I saw this when I was just trawling Kindle Unlimited and just had to put it on the list, mainly for the cover. But then when I read what it was, yeah, it had to go on the pile of possibilities. So this says, in the waters of Lily May, Florida, something has gone horribly wrong. The police department gets flooded with reports of heavy sound waves and flashing under the water. The remains of a 38-foot whale shark wash ashore, and a derelict boat is found adrift, the deck covered in blood. The truth reveals itself by escalating the horror to mass murder. A colony of giant pistol shrimp, yes, grotesquely mutated from toxic exposure, have invaded the Florida coast. Their snapping claws are capable of producing intense heat and thunderous shockwaves. Like a swarm of locusts, they will stop at nothing to devour anything inhabiting the water. Yeah, had to go on the list. Sounds ridiculous and potentially great, so that has gone on the list. Next up, another Kindle Unlimited, is Killipede. Exactly what it says, I think. Giant centipedes. The blurb mentions mutated livestock, massacred lovers, and a horde of giant centipedes on the loose. Okay, sold. So yes, Kindle Unlimited again. More Kindle Unlimited picks, and we've got Snafu, Unnatural Selection. The blurb for this says, man versus nature. In the 70s and 80s, animals ruled. Anacondas, piranha, giant crocodiles, alligators, lizards, mutated bears near nuclear power stations, prehistoric sharks, all featured heavily in books and films when biohorror was at its modern peak. This anthology of military biohorror stories is inspired by those classic days. So this is a short story collection. So this one would be great for, having some stuff to dip into if I've got, just want to read something quick, a bit of a palate cleanser perhaps between longer stories. So it says, think Greg McLean's Rogue, Lake Placid, Eight-Legged Freaks, Anaconda, The Meg, Prophecy, Deep Blue Sea, other films and books where people, in this case soldiers, are fighting against mutated, weird or ultra dangerous animals. So if you wanted to fill in your killer animals square on the GarbBingo board without reading a full book, then you could dip into this collection if you've got Kindle Unlimited. Next up, yes, more killer animal things, and this time I've got Snow Shark and Snow Shark 2 Terror in Space, both by Brian Berry. Kindle Unlimited picks. I think, don't need to go into too much detail with those. I think they're pretty much exactly what they say on the tin. More Kindle Unlimited stuff with Slime by John Holkin. This is a classic 1970s, 80s paperback from hell, but this time in Kindle form. I read another one of John Holkin's, Sliver, which was about kind of killer worms, but like slow worms as opposed to like earthworms, which was highly amusing. I read that back in April, and really enjoyed that. So I've got Slime on the list this time, which is Killer Jellyfish, and there is also Squelch on Kindle Unlimited, which is Killer Moths. So yes, if you fancy something like that, that's all on Kindle Unlimited. And then I've got another Brian Berry who's done Snow Shark and Snow Shark 2. In fact, there are 3 here in the Splatter Madness series, and they are they're described as short, hard-hitting tales that are weak on characters and full of carnage and gore. And if that doesn't say trash, I don't know what does. It focuses on shorter reads, most only taking about an hour to read through, possibly a little bit longer. We've got 3, as I say, there's Rabid Madness, there is The Mound, and the one that really attracted me is Cow Shark. because it sounds absolutely bonkers. So yeah, so the blurb for this says, during a Navy SEAL raid on the high seas, shit goes south. An explosion rocks the waves and a shark is caught in the fallout. Fast forward to the isolated coastal campground, Erie Rock Bay, a place renowned for its solitude and beautiful waters and forests, and it turns into a nightmare when the local cows that range the grassy fields come into contact with a germ. Cow shark actually says that with an exclamation mark. So it doesn't have an exclamation mark in the title, but it does in the description. So whether I can get away with that on the GarbBingo board, please. So yes, those three, as I say, all three of those sound bonkers, but cow shark particularly. And as I say, that they're all, I think most of them are like 50 pages, they're around about, so they are very, very short stories. And then finally, in the Paperbacks from Hell, this is one that I absolutely will be reading, but probably will read, you know, kind of across the month as opposed to just in week 2, and that is The Devil's Laughter, which is the group read, and also will fill the GarbBingo board, that lovely central one of in honour of Pax, because this is one that Pax read last year, and it's book 5 in a series. But Pax read it anyway, not having not read the rest of the series, and she had a great time with it apparently. So yeah, we're going to read this as a group read. And the blurb for this is something funny's going on in Louisiana's backwoods. Someone in LaGrange has stirred up something truly evil. From beyond, demonic messengers emerge out of the fires of hell itself to ignite an orgy of chaos, murder, and bloody destruction. But the devil was the only one laughing. So yes, I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to doing my first group read as well. I've not done a group read yet since being on BookTube. So yeah, that will be good fun. So that is, I mean, that's a pile in itself, isn't it? The Paperbacks from Hell. As I say, I won't get through all of those, but I'm going to try to get through quite a lot. So into the next category then, which is vintage smut. So yes, I've got a few in here, of various different ages. So we'll start off with a Kindle Unlimited pick. First up, we've got The Lady from Lust by Gardner Fox, but writing as Rod Gray. And this is the first book of a series of 23, and they were published in the late 60s, using the James Bond super spy model. And I think they're kind of sort of spy sex comedy type things, really. It looks quite amusing, so it's, you know, part of my subscription, so might give that one a go. And then we've got another Gardner Fox, this time writing as Gardner Fox, and this is the first book in a series called The Sexecutioner, which is again another lady spy, sort of femme fatale, I guess. And this is Cherry Delight, the Italian connection. So again, a Kindle Unlimited pick if you fancy giving that a go. Okay, next up I've got an audiobook by one of the great vintage smut writers, and that is Jilly Cooper, of course, and that is Riders. I've never read any Jilly Cooper, so I'm interested to see what all the fuss is about. This was a bestseller. A quote from the Sunday Telegraph review said, "Sex and horses, who could ask for more?" So yes, it's set against the glorious Cotswold countryside in the UK, and Riders offers an intoxicating blend of swooning romance, adventure, and hilarious hijinks, apparently. So yes, I am quite interested to find out what all the fuss was about when it comes to Jilly Cooper's Riders. Next up, I've got an ebook of another one of the greats of the vintage smut, and that is Jackie Collins, of course. So that's another 2 GarbAugust GarbBingo slots filled if I get through both the Jilly Cooper and the Jackie Collins. And the Jackie Collins I've got is Poor Little Bitch Girl, which is part 7 of a series apparently, and I haven't read any of the others, but I think with a lot of trashy stuff, you know, you can jump into the series part way through. So we'll give this one a go. And this one is about 3 20-something women, 1 hot rich guy, 2 mega movie stars, and a devastating murder. Poor little bitch girl has it all, apparently. So yes, so again, see what all of the fuss over Jackie Collins is about, because again, another bestseller. Next up, I've got a physical book, which is The Happy Hooker, my own story by Javiera Hollander, I think that's pronounced. And this is Hollander's own shockingly candid, apparently, account of her life behind the brothel door. Yeah, again, I've seen this one pop up on other people's videos a little bit, and yeah, I thought, yeah, that's probably a good one to add into the wish list, add into the pile of possibilities. Then we've got The Story of O from 1954 as the original publishing year, and this is kind of classic French erotic fiction about a beautiful young French woman known only as O, who is taken by her lover René to a rather splendid mansion near Paris. Here she is initiated into an elite secret society where she must learn to serve the sexual fantasies of René and his fellow members, but she must also explore the nature of her own darkest desires and confront just how far she is willing to go for love. Again, this one pops up as a classic if you ever search for kind of, you know, classic erotic fiction or anything like that. As I've been doing my research for the vintage smut video that I'm doing, this one popped up quite a bit. So yes, probably a good one to read for some real vintage stuff. And going back even further in the sort of timeline, if you like, is Evelyn, which is early Victorian, written anonymously in 1840, and apparently brims with wonderfully lascivious prose and graphic scenes aplenty. Our heroine Evelyn embarks on a grand voyage of the male and female physique, savouring all from stable boy to sailor to lord and lady. So a bit of Victorian smut. So whether that's gone beyond the vintage into the antique, I don't care. It'll be interesting to see how things have changed over time. And finally, I've got one that I've actually read before, albeit a long time ago, when I was like 19, and that is Big Deal by Helen Sandler. And this is right up to the cusp of what we would think of as vintage, as in this is the 90s. Yes, this one I remember as being eye-opening. I don't remember that much more about it, but I remember it being quite explicit, shall we say. So yes, so I thought I would reread this again, you know, nearly 25 years later, and see what I make of it this time around. So yes, I'll give that one a go again. So next up, novelisations and tie-ins. I can whiz through these quite quickly because they're all things that people will probably, you know, be aware about, you know, be aware of what they're about, because they are, you know, based on already existing media, intellectual property, whatever you want to call it. So first up, a Kindle Unlimited pick, and that is Fringe, the Zodiac Paradox. A tie-in to Fringe, the TV series, which I absolutely loved. It's one of those series which I think was like criminally underrated. It was popular, but it didn't kind of maintain the popularity. But I absolutely loved it. So I'm very interested to read something that's set with those characters in that world. Next up, I've got another Kindle Unlimited pick, and that is Kong, Skull Island. One of the modern kind of King Kong, Godzilla sort of series of movies that have been over the last few years. And this is my favourite one. I loved this one, Kong Skull Island. I thought it was a fantastic, fun movie. And so, yeah, I'm definitely interested in reading that. And that is by Tim Leben, who I've seen, whose name I've seen kind of around quite a lot when it comes to novelizations. So he must be proven at it. So yes, let's give that one a crack. Then I've got The Omen by David Seltzer, which is the novelisation of the movie, and is apparently, by all accounts, quite a decent novelisation. I will never watch the movie. I'm too scared to watch the movie. Demonic children, possessed children, anything like that in movie form, way too much for me. But I can handle stuff in books. So yeah, this The Omen has been on my list for quite a while as something to read, so I thought I would stick it in the pile of possibilities. Next up, I've got an Audible Plus collection pick, which is Alien Covenant. I read Alien Covenant Origins, so a prequel to Alien Covenant, in GarbAugust 1.5, and really enjoyed it. And this one is by Alan Dean Foster, who is well known for being a good writer, particularly of some of the tie-ins for Alien. And so yes, I will give that one a go. I'm not necessarily so much of a fan of the film Alien Covenant, but I like the lore of the world. I like the alien I like the world building. I like all of that surrounding Alien. So I'll give the novelisation a go. Then I have got a physical copy of The Cabin in the Woods, another Tim Leben. And again, this is one where I've not watched the film because I wasn't sure whether it's too scary a film for me. But I liked the concept, so I thought, when I saw this pop up, I thought, yes, okay, well that means at least I get to experience the plot of the film. And if I like it and I think I can handle it, then I will watch the film afterwards. It's one reason why I like novelizations, especially horror stuff. It enables me to actually consume the story and figure out whether actually I could handle the movie. But whichever way, I still get to consume the story. Then I have got this one, which is book 1 of the Gatekeeper trilogy of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a tie-in by Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder. This is an original novel based on the hit TV series created by Joss Whedon. I love Buffy. Buffy is probably my all-time favourite series. Wonderfully trashy series, and fantastic because of it. So yes, and I've got to kind of blame Nick over at another BookTube channel for making me buy this, because he happened to share that he'd got a Buffy novel on his pile of possibilities, I think, for GarbAugust, and it made me kind of go, oh, I want a Buffy novel. So I managed to find this on World of Books for very cheap. So thanks, Nick. You're to blame for that purchase. Then I've got a couple more Audible Plus catalogue picks. So the first one is the novelisation of Halloween by John Passarella. Again, a film I've never seen, and I'm not sure whether it's too scary for me. So I'm going to have a listen to the novelisation and then make a decision as to whether I watch the film afterwards. Another one on the Plus catalogue is Welcome to Smellville by R.L. Stine, and this is Garbage Pail Kids. Now, I remember Garbage Pail Kids when I was a kid myself, and I was never allowed to watch it. It was one of those where my mum kind of went, oh no, that looks way too crass, which just made me want to watch it more, like the movie. And so when I saw this on Plus catalogue, and this is very short as well, so this is a good short one if I just want to fit something small in, I thought, yeah, what's trashier than the Garbage Pail Kids, really? So we'll give that a go. And R.L. Stine, well known for some good trashy kids and teenage stuff, Goosebumps and all that kind of stuff, point horror. And then finally, on the novelisations and tie-ins, and the Plus catalogue, we've got Ghostbusters, the original movie novelisations for Ghostbusters 1 and 2 by Richard Muller and Ed Naha. And again, I can read just one of these. But as I say, they're part of my subscription, and I love Ghostbusters. Again, a great sort of trashy movies, really. Give those a go. So the other category for week 3, the other theme, is books by famous people, and I only have one on the list for this, and that is Mr. McGregor by Alan Titchmarsh, who is a TV gardener in the UK, very mild-mannered man, and this is one of his novels. He's written several, but this one apparently is quite saucy in parts, and potentially quite trashy. So yes, we'll see what Alan's got to say for himself. See what Alan's got for us. So yes, we'll give that a go. And I've got a few last bits and pieces that I've popped in the kind of the anything goes category, mainly because I wasn't sure where to put them else other than that. And the first one is a Kindle Unlimited pick, which is Crawlers, Book 1 by R.S. Merritt, which is kind of, it says, an ancient tomb is unearthed live on cable TV after months of hype. It's billed as the archaeological equivalent of Shark Week. The actual footage takes a turn no one ever expected. Those minutes of footage will be combed over by governments worldwide, seeking to understand what horror came out of the tomb. So it sounds kind of like a bit of an action adventure, possibly a bit zombie-ish. Who knows? But yes, I thought I'd stick that one in the anything goes. Another one is Al Clark, Book 1, by Jonathan G. Mayer. This looks like it's kind of old school sci-fi-ish. One of the quotes said, "Sci-fi at its best, intrigue, robots, action, mystery, and it's very witty." It's, the cover of it, it's, sci-fi, dude alone in space, sci-fi, dinosaurs. The cover itself makes me think potential trash. So that one has gone in the anything goes as well. Then I have got... This one, again, popped up as I was searching Kindle Unlimited for general stuff, and I just thought, what? And had to put it down as a potential. And that is The Overland Hotel, an erotic horror choose-your-own-death adventure. Need I say more? It's very short. It will probably be even shorter than the number of pages that it actually is, which I think is only about 50 pages. And I'm expecting it, in all honesty, to be terrible. So expectations are low, but I can't not see what this is about. I used to love choose your own adventure books as a kid, and yeah, when I saw this, I thought, yeah, this sounds like super trash. So yes, that is on the list. Then I've got one that was recommended to me by my sister, which is The Great Zoo of China by Matthew Riley, which is described as a high-concept, action-packed thriller, and also says, "Get ready for action on a gigantic scale" in the blurb. And I think this is like Jurassic Park, but with dragons in China, as far as I'm aware. That's all that my sister's kind of told me about it. But she says it's like it's very trashy. So I thought, yes, I'll give that one a go. I think I'll try and get that out of the library. And then finally, I wanted to stick a Dean Koontz book on the list because I've never read any Dean Koontz, and so I picked one that's Kindle Unlimited, which is Demon Seed, which says Susan Harris lived in self-imposed seclusion. Her mansion featuring numerous automated systems controlled by a state-of-the-art computer. Every comfort was provided. Her security was absolute. Until her security system is breached from the inside. In the privacy of her own home and against her will, she will experience an inconceivable act of terror and become the object of the ultimate computer's consuming obsession to learn everything there is to know about human flesh. So yes, that one sounds delightful. So that is my absolutely ridiculous mammoth pile of possibilities. As I say, I don't expect to get through all of these. If I do, then there's something wrong with me. But I need a variety. I need choice because I am a mood reader. Absolutely, I'm a mood reader. And hopefully, even if I don't get through some of these, you'll have maybe heard of something on this mammoth list that's piqued your interest, and that you can go off and have a little look into and potentially read yourself for GarbAugust. So yes, I think I won't be able to fill the entire GarbAugust board. There's definitely quite a few things on there that I can do, but who knows? Maybe as I read stuff, I'll be able to kind of use books for more squares, but we'll see. So yes, so I will leave it there because this has been a long enough video. Thank you very much for sticking with me this long, if you have. Do let me know in the comments what you're excited to read for GarbAugust yourself. And I am super duper excited to get cracking on all of this trashy reading in only just over a week from now. So yes, thank you very much for watching again, folks. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving me a like and subscribing for more content coming very soon. But from me, for now, stay trashy.